Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first interview. We are here with Second Servings Houston with Miss Amber Chestnut. So, would you mind introducing a little bit about yourself?
My name is Amber Chestnut. I am the marketing coordinator here at Second Servings of Houston.
So, what exactly is the mission of Second Servings Houston?
So, Second Servings of Houston is the city's only prepared and perishable food rescue organization. What this means is that we partner with different food retailers and food businesses all across the city, such as grocery stores, catering services, catering companies, event venues, and we pick up all of the surplus unsold food that is still perfectly edible, and we deliver it to different charities all across Houston. We do this in order to fight hunger and waste. That surplus food ordinarily would have been destined for the landfill because those retailers don't have the space for it, but instead we redirect it to feed people in need.
That's a really great idea. So, I know it's really common for high school students to feel like they can't really make an impact, especially with those kinds of big nonprofits. So, do you look for high school volunteers or do you have any suggestions on ways students can get involved?
Yes, so because of liability issues and the way our operation is modeled from, we do allow volunteers of high school age students to come. However, they must be at least 16 years old. That reason is because we have four refrigerated vans that run food rescue routes, and you're in the back of receiving ends, warehouses, and places that might not necessarily be safe for youth of a certain age. But aside from that, if you are 16 years of age and able to lift 30 to 40 pounds, we do encourage you to come volunteer on the van so that you can ride along with our experienced and vaccinated drivers to pick up the surplus foods. And then you get to see the assortment of different charities we support. We go anywhere from soup kitchens to food pantries to low income housing communities. I always like to say too, aside from getting involved on the food rescue route, you can also implement ways to reduce food waste in your household. So primarily the majority of food waste that happens is after the point of sale, which means it's either happening in on the grocery store level, the retail level, the restaurant level, or in our households. So there are a lot of resources on our website and on our social media to where you can learn how to prevent food waste and keep food fresher for longer, and trying to implement that into your household habits with your families.
Right, that's a really useful tips you mentioned. You touched on it a little bit, but do you have any very basic ways people can reduce their food waste? I know maybe as teenagers you feel like, oh, I don't have the money or the resources to really make a difference in this kind of stuff. So do you have any just quick everyday things people can do just to make a little bit of difference?
Absolutely. So, to start, one of the most important things is to kind of plan out your meals. A lot of the times, people have an issue with impulse buying or overspending and going to the grocery store and just picking things off the shelf because they're hungry and look in the moment. But if you have a plan for what you're going to eat, not only does it help reduce your waste, but it also helps you with your budget. So number one, first and foremost, is planning mindful eating. Second would probably have to be storage tips. So the way you store your food can highly change the likelihood of it going to waste faster. So, for example, carrots, they come in those tiny little bags, but they actually are best stored in water. So if you take just like a mason jar and you stick a bunch of carrots in and seal the top, you can store it in the fridge, and it'll last you for weeks. And it's like that for a lot of vegetables. You can actually store your limes and your lemons that way as well. I typically say leave them on the counter until they've ripened to a certain amount. And then when you're at that perfect ripeness, you just submerge them in containers of water, jars of water, close the lid, put it in the fridge. You can do that with celery as well. Um, for your greens, like salad greens, also store in an airtight container. Put a paper towel at the top of the greens so that it kind of like soaks up all the moisture. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, one of my favorite food rescue tip. A lot of people don't really think about this one, but whenever you open a glass jar, let's say it can be pasta sauce like marinara or salsa, say you don't use all of it when they go to store it in the fridge, actually turn your jar of salsa upside down. So where the lid is on the bottom. So the reason for this is that whenever you turn it upside down, all the food kind of pushes up against the lid. So it makes it harder for air to um, um, go into the lid. It kind of creates a seal, and with less air inside of the jar, it makes it harder for mold to grow. So it lasts a lot longer, weeks more actually.
Wow, those are some really great ideas. Like, I definitely need to start doing some of that. So I know a lot of high school students, me included, volunteer mostly because they have to. It's a school requirement. So just from your personal experience, why do you think students should get involved? Less because they have to and more because they actually want to.
Well, a lot of it goes towards humanitarian reasons and like wanting to better your community. So it might start off to where you need service hours, but whenever you find something you're truly passionate about, it could lead to so much more. So for me, I wasn't born with a passion for waste diversion or sustainable food systems. Whenever I was in college, I began volunteering with the local food pantry. And then I also volunteered with the farmers market and eventually started working with the farmers market and doing more stuff with food related. And then I started to get involved with the Office of Sustainability. And then I developed a passion for sustainability. So it's really remarkable and interesting where service can lead you without knowing where it can lead you. And it's just better, it just feels good to better your community, get to know people in your community and help those who are less fortunate to you. I really didn't have any kind of inkling about food waste until I went and I served in this way. And then it really clicked for me that so much food goes to waste every single year. About 40% of our available food supply goes to waste every single year. But millions of Americans struggle with food insecurity. And it's crazy to think how much goes to waste when we have this abundance of food that people aren't utilizing. So whenever you go into something and you start to learn the facts about it and you start to see the impact that it has on the community and start to bridge those gaps, you would be really surprised about where it can take you and what you can learn from it and how passionate you become.
I definitely agree with that. You touched a little on the mission behind second servings, but do you have any further facts for us about the impacts it's had on the community or how volunteers have met other people or made a difference themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not talked about a lot, but food waste actually is a very big contributor to greenhouse gases. So food waste in our landfills makes up for about 8 to 10% of our global greenhouse gas emissions globally. Um, Food waste in our landfills is the biggest component of our landfills, making up about 21% of it. Um, and the worst part about it is that food waste is totally preventable. um, like I had mentioned earlier, we have an abundance of it. We're just not distributing it in a way where everybody can benefit from it. So it's not a food scarcity problem, it is a food distribution problem. In our own community here in Houston, according to a Feeding America study, about 16% of Houstonians are food insecure, meaning they do not have regular, reliable access to healthy, nutritious foods. Many people don't know where their next meal is coming from. And with the increase in the crazy increase in inflation that we're seeing, prices are up everywhere. Gas is up, groceries is up, housing is up. I think groceries actually have reached the highest they've ever been in the past 4 decades at 10.8%. So a lot of people are there's a lot of financial strain on our community right now. especially those with families and elderly that are on fixed incomes. So just from people coming and volunteering with us and being able to come face to face with the recipients that they help, because the way our model works is we do everything same day delivery. So we are going to pick up, let's say, for example, at Trader Joe's and a couple Kroger's. This very same day, we will take all that food to Star of Hope Missions, which is another nonprofit partner of ours, and they support the homeless community here in Houston. They have a women's and children's center and they have a men's center. So our volunteers that come, they can themselves see all the food that they've diverted from the landfill. They've helped divert from the landfill and who they've brought it to feed instead. And um, that in itself has a lot of impact, not just on our volunteers, but also on the folks that we've helped and just our community in general.
That's a really great idea. I definitely respect a lot the things y'all do. So do you have any last words for people who want to get involved a little more? I know you mentioned kids can go with the van, so do you have any other jobs people do or any other partners you work with that people can also get involved with?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you're always welcome to follow us on social media. We are Second Servings Houston on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the things. And we do post a lot of food waste prevention tips on there as well. So if you're ever looking for new ways to increase the longevity of your food pantry or your pantries at home or your fridge shelf life, stuff like that, you're welcome to follow us on social media. We are hoping to get our group volunteer opportunities back, and that essentially is where we go to food shows. We rescue the food from there, which is pretty good for all ages, so long as they are um, they are accompanied by an adult. With those rescues, it's not on a van. We actually go to the conference or the show themselves. And after the show is over, we pick up all the food at that same location. So it's actually a much safer way to volunteer. That probably won't return back until the fall, though. Um, we do have a lot of charity partners that you could potentially partner with and sit in to help with the distribution. That has to be a little more planned though, so you have to email us specifically at info@secondservingshouston.org if you want more information on that. Um, and then we also would like to, in the future, this probably won't happen until next year, but we would love to have an ambassadors program, like a hunger, still in the works. We don't have a name yet, but ambassador program essentially where we would kind of have hunger heroes in the community that would go out and advocate for our mission. So they would help with tabling events and they would sit in on pickups and just learn about food waste and ways to stop it and how they can get involved on a bigger level.
Those are really great initiatives. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me and educating our community a little more.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very passionate about what we do and educating others on how they can get involved. So I feel very grateful that you approached us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, you go ahead and have a great day, Alexandra.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Bye.
Bye.